Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the New York Jets, and I'm here to talk about week 2 of the regular season where the New York Jets win. They actually won. The New York Jets, those ones, the one I root for, that team won an exciting game because I guess that's just possible. We are all witness. Like, holy crap. Did you guys watch the Jets game today? Like, the Jets game. It was good. And I enjoyed it, and not just because of Stockholm Syndrome, like normal. All right, just like from the start of it, That wasn't a Jets game. That was a football game. And I hear some of you saying, oh, Weston, aren't all Jets games football games? I have been a Jets fan for well over a decade. The majority of my life, I have been rooting for this stupid team. I very rarely call what the Jets do football. But holy crap, today they did. They played normal football, like the actual sport of football, like the way God intended. Like a team scores, and then the other team has the ball, and maybe they score, and then the other team scores, and the other team, and so on and so forth, and like it's close, and like compelling, and not awful. Like, God, this is what good teams feel, like weekly? That's insane. It's like the first quarter was bad for the Jets. They really didn't do anything. They'd give up a Nick Chubb touchdown defensively. They weren't looking great, right? Like, for a while in this game, they didn't look great. And there were streaks where the Jets would not look good later in the game, right? It really seemed like we were having quite a difficulty, which is fascinating because last week we did a good job locking down Lamar Jackson, one of the most talented, maybe the most purely talented because of what he can do running and throwing the ball, quarterbacks in the sport of football. And the fact that we were able to, like, lock him down, like, well. But then the fact that, like, we had trouble with Jacoby Brissett is, like... I mean, hey, you won, so, like, who am I to second-guess you? But, really? But late in the first quarter, the Jets facing fourth down. Time to punt. And this is the first of many things today that prove it's different this time. 4th and 2. Jets go out there to punt, right? Come up short on third. Braden Mann takes it. And it's a fake punt. And it works. It's caught. It's a good play. The Jets gain 17 yards. Not just the first. They get 17 yards. They get a big old gain off of the fella. And all of a sudden, the Jets are back cooking in business. Couple plays later, Garrett Wilson plays with his food on the line of scrimmage, breaking some ankles, gets open in the corner of the end zone. Flacco floats one, and the Jets tie the game. But it wasn't ideal because the next drive, Browns score a touchdown. Amari Cooper from 6 yards out. Amari Cooper, who I forget is on the Browns constantly, scores, and it's, 14-7. But, like, it's fine. The Jets get the ball, and they fumbled it. Jadeveon Clowney just came like a bat out of hell at Joe Flacco, and he had no shot. Strip fumble, and the Browns get the ball. And you're like, well, that wasn't good. But, this insane thing happened called the Jets made a mistake, and then, to accent the mistake, was the defense picking up the offense. 3 and out. And the Browns got a punt. Like normal football things happened. The Jets moving the ball well. Get it down to the goal line. First and second goal don't work out that well. But third and goal, Breece Hall 10 yards out from Joe Flacco. A little dump pass. And the Jets score. Breece Hall's first career touchdown pass. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier with Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson, his first career touchdown pass as well. The Jets had 2 firsts from high drafted rookies in the first half, and the game is tied 14 apiece. It's a normal football game. And I just gotta emphasize that because we don't watch normal football games as Jets fans. So then you come into the second half, and the Jets give up a field goal in the first drive, but nothing too shabby there. You can allow that. It's fine. You know why you can do that? A couple drives later, Jets march down the field, and they pick up a field goal. Like, they tied the game for a third time. It's like I was watching a different game. Now we are going to completely noom over Nick Chubb's second touchdown run. That would make it 24-17, because that isn't too important to the story. What is important to the story is the next touchdown run. After a little bit of a punt off, Browns have the ball. Nick Chubb runs it in, and it's 30. It's going to be 31 after the extra. Oh, he missed the extra point. That's not going to come back to matter anyway. Anyway, it's 30-17, and the game is pretty much over. But hey, you know, the Jets took a crucial step forward. We've yelled a lot about the Jets just being competitive in the fourth quarter. And hey, we were very competitive. We were competitive up until the whistle. That's a positive step in the right direction, right? That's moving forward. Like, what is Corey Davis doing? What on God's earth is that coverage? No, like, seriously, look at this. I mean, that's bad. Like, for a second, I thought it was prevent for some reason, but no, this is just real bad. This is some of the worst coverage I've seen in a hot minute. Corey Davis left, I mean, as wide open as possible, and 66-yard bomb from Joe Flacco. He could have moonwalked into the end zone from 30 yards out. He was just completely alone. And it's like, all right, well, that's a positive, you know. Jets are at least showing a little bit of fight, but we all thought it was garbage time. We all thought it was garbage time. And I think a little bit of that was the fact that, like, yeah, the Browns had a multi-score lead. But, like, as a collective, I think Jets fans just kind of look at the clock, and when you see less than 10 in the fourth quarter, you can just assume that it's garbage time, and, like, 90% of the time you're going to be correct, because it's kind of the market standard for us to get our asses kicked. And this wasn't that. It wasn't garbage time, because Braden Mann, onside kick, boots it, touches a Brown, he muffs it, and the Jets jump on it. And at that moment, it was this feeling of like, things are going in our favor, and I'm not used to that. And then the Jets, a little over a minute, just kind of keep nudging their way downfield. They just keep kind of nudging it. 3rd and 10 from the 15 after a really great play by Garrett Wilson to get us close. A dart from Joe Flacco into the arms to hit him in stride. Garrett Wilson walks in. The Jets have tied, and with the extra point would take the lead of an epic last-minute comeback to win a football game, provided nothing happens on, like, the 2 plays Cleveland gets after we kick it to them. And then Cleveland gets the ball, and they throw it, just trying to get anybody yards they can. And Ashton Davis makes a play, gets a pick, hits the dirt. The Jets win the game. You're going to laugh at me for saying this, because it is stupid, and I'm not going to lie and say it isn't. It is, because I'm talking about a game. It was almost like out of body, because the things that happened today just don't happen to the Jets. Not since I've been a fan, certainly, and that's quite a few years now. Again, been a Jets fan longer than I haven't been, and God, that's hard to say. I say that, by the way, being 20 years old and having been a Jets fan since, like, 2009. So, like, 12, 13 years. I can't even imagine the poor guys who are in their, like, 60s, 70s, or 80s, or even, heck, a few probably in the 90s, that have been Jets fans, in some cases, since they became a franchise, or, like, for 50 years. My soul goes out to you guys for still sticking in this. But, like, this kind of stuff just doesn't happen for the Jets, right? It just doesn't happen. Super competitive, exciting game that everyone would look at and go, yeah, that was a super good game. That was great. That's uncommon, right? But there's so many things in the game that happened. The fumble that resulted in a 3-and-out from the defense, like complimentary football, usually doesn't happen. It feels like constantly, Jets games, it's a story of either defense played great, shame the offense couldn't help it, or offense played great, shame the defense couldn't help it, or offense and defense were okay, shame special teams had to shank it. Something to that equivalent. There's always a caveat. But the Jets played purely, and it especially on special teams because of the onside kick, played complimentary football at all 3 phases of the game. And I can say all 3 phases as well because Braden Mann had that awesome 17-yard pass. On top of that, the young guys, right? Young rookie running back that you drafted high has a good game. Garrett Wilson takes over this game. Sauce Gardner has another solid outing. Wasn't nearly as good as his week 1 game, but hey, it was still a really good game. You know, Jermaine Johnson, I want to say, had either a tackle for loss or a sack, something to that equivalent. A good play. He looked good. The young guys, the rookies that you have, played unequivocally, unquestionably, good football. And in the case of Garrett Wilson, amazing football. 102 yards, pair of touchdowns, including the winner? Are you kidding me? Corey Davis catching the massive 66-yard touchdown to help set up the onside kick, if you can even say set up the onside kick, but to, actually make the Jets go, wait, whoa, we got a shot here. The big free agent spend for the Jets a couple years ago that works out. And it's just confusing. It feels like you're in the twilight zone. It feels like something's off. But it isn't. It happened. The Jets played a really good game. That was not just good, it was exciting and enjoyable. And makes me excited for the next game. Which is weird. And even more excited for like the 4th game this season when Wilson's back and he's leading the offensive charge. Like, I feel excited, and I'm not used to it for this team especially. I swear, and I've said it before a bunch of times. I've said it a few times last video, and I'm going to say it in this one. It's different this time. This team is finally different. They've done it. I think this is the group, the core group, that finally makes us not a laughingstock. Because I sat there, and it never happened. Things that are important never happen the way you think they're going to happen. They always happen differently. I thought the, more or less, changing of the guards for the division, for the AFC East, was a couple years ago when Brady left, right? The first year with Cam Newton when they were mediocre. I thought that was sort of the changing of the guards, was just Brady leaving, and it wasn't. The changing of the guards, and you can laugh at me, you can call me psychotic, what have you, I don't care. The changing of the guards happened this afternoon. Because at the same time, I watched 3 games pretty darn intently. I watched the Jets game, I watched the Dolphins game, and I watched the Patriots game. All of them fairly intently, right? I was paying good attention, especially for the Dolphins game because I have Waddle and Tua as my starting players on fantasy. So, again, most of my attention on the Jets game, watching that. Every once in a while, I peek back and see what's happening in the Dolphins game. And as I watched the 3 games, I watched the Dolphins have an epic comeback for the ages behind Tua having the game of his career. 6 touchdown pass. Ties the franchise record for Miami. How about that, huh? I watched that happen, right? This incredible gunfight between the Dolphins and the Ravens. 2 good teams, and Tua quarterback the Dolphins in an elite way that, at least in my lifetime, I have never watched the Dolphins have. Then I watched the Jets game. The Jets in a back-and-forth battle win last minute after trailing 13 points, minute 31 left, which, by the way, big report today, right? This was the big thing, was 2,200 and some odd teams, I'll throw up the graphic right here, entered 4th quarter, last minute and a half, trailing 13, and all of them lost. The Jets have done something that 2,200 teams have failed to do, and that's overcome a 13-point deficit with hardly any time left. And I watched the Patriots, who seem mediocre at best this season, struggle to beat a Steelers team who, honestly, especially now after seeing how bad the Bengals did this week, are probably mediocre. And it hit me. It's finally different. The team that's lorded over this division, this sport, for 20 years, they aren't the kings anymore. The Bills made a great lay to that throne last year, and they made a great lay to it already this season after week 1. I'm not saying they haven't. And I still think it's either the Bills or the Dolphins that are going to end up winning the East. I'm not going to say anything stupid like the Jets are going to win the East. I'm not even still on the boat that the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I think it's very possible, but I'm not going to say that yet. But what I'm saying is that the Kings aren't there anymore. It has changed. Time has changed. It has gone forward. This is not the olden times anymore. And this is not the same old Jets anymore! Going online after the game, seeing memes, and we're not the butt of them. We're the other side of the meme. We're the other side of the graphic of some BS thing that hasn't happened in 1,000 years. It's us. We're on the positive side. What a day. What a game for the Jets. For the entire coaching staff. I have hope. And I've had hope, right, a lot with the Jets. Because, God, that's all you have with the Jets is hope. And, you know, the ability to say, well, next year, you know, that kind of thing. But, God, I've never had hope like this. I've never had hope in this team like this. I am as excited as I can be for week 3. I'm excited for a Jets game. How about that? I'm excited for a Jets game. How about that? So the Jets head back to MetLife next week, 1 o'clock on Sunday. We take on the Bengals, who have started 0-2, and the Jets look to improve to 2-1 for the first time since 2015. I'm feeling pretty good. So I'll be here after that game next week to talk about it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. I know I did. And I can say it with actual joy. Go Jets!